It was 3 o'clock in the morning when someone began slamming hard on my door without warning. The noise snapped me awake, sending my heart racing fast. At first I assumed maybe it was just a drunk neighbor or sudden emergency. But when I peered through the small door peephole, it was my landlord, Mr. Dalton, standing there. His face appeared pale, slick, and soaked with sweat. He said, "Pack everything now. You need to leave immediately." 10 minutes, no questions. Still groggy and confused, I just stood frozen there. "Lee, why is this happening right now?" His eyes flicked nervously down the hallway before returning. His voice trembled as he spoke in whispers. "The previous tenant returned." I frowned, totally confused then. "What do you mean, returned?" He stepped closer toward me, his voice barely audible now. "She died here last year." That was when I realized something was deeply wrong here. With my apartment itself. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more true story style mysteries like this. And comment below where you're watching from tonight. I want to know who's brave enough listening. My name is Jenna Rowe, and this happened last fall when I moved into my first apartment alone. I had just escaped a long, draining relationship. It took my savings, my confidence, and peace. I wanted a fresh beginning, somewhere quiet and anonymous. A place nobody knew or recognized my name. I found the listing online for a small one-bedroom apartment. It was in a quiet building outside Richmond, Virginia. It wasn't perfect at all, but it was affordable enough. It also came fully furnished. The kind of place you choose when rebuilding life. The building itself was old but surprisingly well maintained. The hallway smelled faintly of lemon cleaning solution. The floors creaked loudly with every careful step. My landlord, Mr. Dalton, was in his 60s, polite, gentle, and reserved. The type who wore cardigans regardless of weather. He helped carry my boxers upstairs without complaining once. He told me he lived downstairs if needed. Across the hall lived Mrs. Lockhart, elderly and sharp. She had a biting tone, but a genuinely kind heart. She'd lean in doorways whenever she spotted me. She'd say things like, "You're too young, dear." I thought she was just being overly dramatic. The first week passed calmly. I unpacked and settled in. I hung my drawings proudly, finally feeling somewhat stable again. I worked from home. As a freelance illustrator, so I spent long hours in that asterisk apartment sketching by the window, slowly and drinking far too much coffee than usual. The street outside remained quiet and mostly empty. The neighbors generally kept to themselves without fuss. It felt like real peace, something I hadn't known in such a long time before moving here. My younger sister, Ava, came by one quiet weekend just to visit. She was 23, bursting with energy, sarcasm. "You've got a nice place," she said casually, tossing her jacket onto the couch without care. "Kind of old, though. You sure this place isn't haunted at all?" I laughed at her. "If it is, at least the ghost pays rent on time." She rolled her eyes. But later that night, as we watched movies, we heard faint tapping sounds from the kitchen. I brushed it aside, assuming pipes or mice. Old buildings always made strange noises like that. Right that night, I went to bed feeling proud of myself. I was on my own, stable, and rebuilding the life I'd lost. The apartment stayed quiet, except occasional radiator creaks and the wind outside. I remember thinking then it felt almost too quiet for comfort. A few days later, I noticed small things. The scent of lavender appearing without any warning. Soft humming sound drifting through walls nightly. I assumed Mrs. Lockhart or someone down the hall, but it never stopped at any set time. One morning, I found a coffee cup waiting. It sat on the counter, unused by me. There was lipstick there. Not my shade, not my brand either. I stood there frozen, staring for a long time, convincing myself I'd been tired and forgot. By the second week, I adjusted to odd sounds and strange smells. They blended into routine. But the night Mr. Dalton knocked at my door, all that calm disappeared. It wasn't casual knocking or even polite tapping. It was urgent, panicked, like someone truly afraid. Like a man who knew more than me when he told me to pack everything, leave. I finally understood then. Whatever had been happening wasn't just imagination. It was something real, something that wanted me gone. The night my landlord knocked was the moment everything I believed about that apartment collapsed. I didn't leave immediately, stood there stunned, phone shaking in my hand, trying to understand his terrifying warning fully. The previous tenant came back. Those words echoed. They repeated again and again inside my head. How could someone dead simply return like that? After he left, I tried calming myself. I told myself maybe he was just confused. Maybe someone broke in, or he mixed tenants. I stayed awake all night, afraid to sleep, listening closely to every sound through the walls. The building was old, so noises felt normal. Pipes clicking, floors settling. But that night, everything sounded sharper somehow. Every creak made me flinch badly. The next morning, I called my sister Ava. "You won't believe what happened last night," I said, voice trembling. When I explained Mr. Dalton's warning fully, she laughed nervously. "That's insane," she said. "It's probably losing it. Old people get paranoid." "Yeah," I said quietly, trying hard to agree. "You're probably right." But deep down inside, I knew something was wrong. I decided to ask Mrs. Lockhart directly then. She opened her door before I even knocked, like she expected me. "You're the new girl in 3B, she said, eyes narrowing. I told him not to rent that again. A chill ran through me. "Why not?" I asked. She sighed softly, looking down the hallway. Then she whispered carefully, "A girl died there. Last year, dear. Young, about your age. She fell from balcony. Police said suicide, but nobody believed it. The night she died, I heard screaming. Not hers," she added. "A man's scream instead." My throat tightened instantly. "Do you know her name?" I asked quietly. "Rachel," she said softly. Rachel Monroe. I thanked her and returned to my apartment, trying hard not panicking. The air felt heavier when I walked inside, like the room itself was quietly listening. I searched Rachel Monroe online almost immediately. Sure enough, there was a short article posted. "Local woman found dead in apartment balcony fall. Authorities suspected self-harm." No mention of foul play anywhere reported. No updates appeared. Since that night, strange things started happening once again. While brushing my teeth, the bathroom light flickered. I switched it off, then turned it back. Nothing seemed unusual then, but when I looked up into the mirror, there was a faint handprint on the glass. It definitely wasn't mine. Kay grabbed a towel and wiped at it, but the mark remained. I stepped back slowly, my stomach twisting tight. The apartment suddenly felt unbearably freezing cold. It's a kind of cold that sinks into bones. I left every light on and sat waiting in the living room until the sun rose. The next day, Ava called me again. "I can come stay with you tonight if you want to." I hesitated before answering. "No, I'll be fine. I think this place is getting to me," but I wasn't fine. That evening, while working on a new drawing, I heard soft humming coming from the kitchen. It was faint, distant, like someone standing quietly. The tune was slow and painfully sad. I froze in place. I turned my head, expecting phone music playing or the television on. But there was nothing. The humming suddenly stopped, replaced by dripping sounds. I followed it slowly toward the kitchen sink, but the faucet wasn't leaking any water. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement, a passing shadow. It moved from hallway to bedroom silently. I wanted to run, but forced myself forward. My heart pounded violently, loud inside my ears. When I reached bedroom, the door stood ajar, swinging gently like someone just passed through. I pushed it open and felt cold air. The balcony curtains moved despite locked doors. Then I noticed something entirely new there. On the wall beside *, the window faint scratches. It's as if fingernails dragged across painted surface. I leaned closer carefully, my breath shaking. Its words were carved there, not deep but readable. Under the light, they became clear. He comes back. My knees felt weak. I backed away quickly and grabbed my phone. I called Mr. Dalton. He answered second ring, voice tired and shaking. "You shouldn't still be there," he said. "Who is he?" I demanded, angrily. "What's happening in this apartment?" He sighed heavily then. "You need to leave before tonight, please. I'll explain tomorrow. Just stay somewhere else. Not leaving until you tell me everything." There was long silence on the line. Then he whispered quietly, "Rachel didn't kill herself. She was being stalked by a man, her ex-boyfriend. Used to sneak into the building nightly. After she died, people said they still saw him wandering halls. Sometimes they saw her too," he said. I hung up abruptly, unable to hear more. I sat there shaking, gripping my phone tightly. That night, I packed a small overnight bag. I decided to sleep at Ava's place. But as I reached for my keys, something caught my eye. The bathroom mirror. The glass was fogged, though shower unused. Written in the steam were 3 chilling words: "Don't let him." The message faded slowly as I stared, frozen, leaving only my reflection. My hands were trembling. I didn't know who wrote it or why, but I knew then I couldn't ignore it. That was the night I finally realized. Whatever haunted this apartment wasn't superstition or story. It was a warning. And I was running out of time. After the message appeared on the mirror, I couldn't breathe properly. My whole body froze, fear seeping deep inside. I stood in that small bathroom, staring at the fading words. "Don't let him." The steam slowly faded away from glass. I was left with only my reflection staring back, pale, frightened, and shaking. I didn't know who he was or why, or what I was supposed to even do, but one thing felt certain. I couldn't keep pretending this meant absolutely nothing. I grabbed my phone and called Mr. Dalton again, but he didn't answer. The call went straight to voicemail once more. I left a message, my voice shaking badly. "Mr. Dalton, please listen. I need to know what's happening here." What does that message mean exactly? Who is he really? There was no response. For several long minutes, I stood staring silently at my phone screen. Then I made a decision. I wasn't leaving until I learned the truth. Whatever was happening here wouldn't end with running. I wanted answers badly, and I would get them. The next morning early, I went downstairs to Mr. Dalton's small office. He looked shocked seeing me, like he expected me gone. "I told you to leave," he said quietly, rubbing his tired forehead. "You said you'd explain," I replied, firmly back. "So start explaining now." He hesitated briefly before motioning me to sit. "The girl before you, Rachel Monroe, was good. Quiet, polite, never trouble. She lived there 3 years. Then, last summer, everything suddenly changed for her. She started calling me late at night, saying someone was trying to break inside. I changed her locks twice. She swore she heard footsteps in hallways and keys turning in her door late. The police said she was just paranoid. A chill crawled slowly down my spine then. Did they catch anyone?" I asked softly. He shook his head. No one believed her. And then one night she fell from balcony. The report said suicide. But Mrs. Lockhart heard arguing beforehand. A man's voice shouting. I swallowed hard then. Her ex-boyfriend. "Yes," he said quietly. "He used to work here. Maintenance staff before. He disappeared the same week she died. No one's seen him since." I leaned forward nervously. "But what about last night? You said she came back." His hands trembled, speaking. "A tenant downstairs swore they saw Rachel standing in the hallway. Outside your door, same clothes as that night, same bruises on her." I didn't believe it. Not until cameras showed movement. I checked footage myself. What did you see? I whispered quietly. He stared downwards, a shadow shaped like a woman. Standing outside your apartment? But when I rewound, she was gone. I didn't know what to say anymore. My stomach felt heavy, my hands went cold. None of it made sense, but I couldn't ignore what I'd experienced. I went back upstairs, determined to find something, anything that explained what was happening here. I searched every corner carefully, behind refrigerator, inside closets, under the bed slowly. The air felt thick, heavy, almost resisting me, like the apartment didn't want me there. In the bedroom, I noticed something strange. One floorboard slightly lifted. I pried it open with a screwdriver. Inside was a small wooden box, dusty. My heart raced wildly as I opened it. Inside lay old items, a cracked phone, a locket, a notebook. The name Rachel written on first page neatly. I sat on the floor and started reading. Most pages were normal, her job, friends, dating. But the last entries were very different. The handwriting grew messy, rushed, almost panicked. He won't leave me alone. I hear him inside walls. Mr. Dalton says it's all in my head, but I know what I saw myself. And finally written there. If something happens to me, it won't be. Accident? He said he'd come back for me. I dropped the notebook, my hands shaking violently. The room felt colder suddenly. The air went completely still. I looked toward balcony doors, and for 1 second I saw a reflection. A faint woman, standing there. Then I blinked, and it vanished. That was when I knew I couldn't stay silent. I called Ava immediately and told her everything. She didn't laugh this time. You need to leave, Jenna. You are not safe. I'm not leaving yet, I said firmly, until I know truth. Someone needs to finish what she started. Ava sighed deeply. Then I'm coming over. You're not alone. By the time she arrived, the sun was setting low. The apartment looked darker than it ever had. We sat together quietly. The wooden box lay open between us. Ava picked up the locket, turning it slowly. Inside was a photo of asterisk Rachel, young, smiling, full of life. She looks like you, Ava said quietly then. I frowned, confused. What do you mean she really does, Jenna? Same hair, same eyes. That's incredibly creepy. I hadn't noticed before, but she was right. I looked almost exactly like Rachel Monroe. Suddenly, keys jingled loudly outside the apartment door. Both of us jumped. We froze completely still. Then came the sound of the handle turning, slowly, deliberately so. Ava whispered softly, "Is that Mr. Dalton?" I shook my head slowly. My voice barely audible. He has no reason to come up here. The handle turned again. My heart raced painfully hard. Whoever stood outside wasn't knocking politely. They were trying entering. That was when I realized what Rachel's message meant. Don't let him. The person outside wasn't the landlord at all. 'Twas the man Rachel feared most. Somehow he came back. The twisting handle sound sent shock through me. Ava and I stared, frozen in terror. The old metal rattled, then suddenly stopped. For several seconds, everything went silent again. So quiet I heard my heartbeat pounding loudly. I took one careful step toward the door. I motioned Ava back. She whispered, "Jenna, don't." But I couldn't wait. I leaned closer, listening. Then the handle turned, slow and deliberate again, like someone testing us, waiting for reaction. I stepped back slowly, my stomach twisting tight. "Who's there?" I shouted, trying to sound brave, but my voice shook badly. There was no answer. Only shoes scraping softly across hallway floor. Ava grabbed my arm, eyes wide with fear. "We need police," she whispered. I nodded quickly, fumbling for my phone. Before I could dial, a loud thud hit. Then another. Someone pounded with both hands, forcing door open. Ava screamed, pulling me toward the kitchen fast. I heard wood splintering, the lock starting failing. I grabbed a knife, hands shaking violently now, could barely hold it. The pounding stopped suddenly. Then came a single, quiet, rhythmic knock. The same calm knock from security footage described. A deep voice followed. Low, familiar sounding. Rachel, I just want to talk. My blood ran cold instantly. He thinks you're her, Ava whispered fearfully. He thinks you died. I didn't move, didn't even breathe. The voice spoke again, sharper this time. You can't hide forever. The air grew heavier, word by word spoken. Like apartment holding breath, I took Ava's hand, whispering urgently. We're leaving out back. The balcony was only exit. Even saying it felt wrong. That was where Rachel died. Still no other choice. I pulled Ava toward the sliding glass door, unlocked it carefully, slowly. The cool night air rushed. For one moment, relief. Then I noticed something strange. The balcony railing scarred deeply. Dense and long scratches covered it, like someone clung desperately. Behind us, the door finally cracked open loudly. Turned just in time. A man stepped inside. Tall, messy hair, dark clothes, eyes hollow, lifeless looking. Oh. A scar crossed his jaw. In his hand, crowbar. Rachel, he said softly, smiling faintly now. You can't keep running. Ava gasped loudly. I whispered in shock. He's not supposed here. He's not supposed alive. He scanned the apartment like he knew it. His gaze moved slowly over walls and furniture. Over pictures? I hung. Then his eyes landed on the wooden box. Still open on table. You found it, he said. She tried hiding it. He stepped closer slowly. Ava moved in front, shaking but defiant. You need to leave, she said firmly. We called the police. He laughed bitterly, dry. It made my skin crawl. Asterisk, no one's coming. They never came for her, did they? He took another step. Shouldn't have moved in here. I gripped the knife tighter, my hands slick with cold, nervous sweat. My mind raced wildly, searching for anything that could stop him. Then something strange happened. The air inside shifted. The curtains by balcony began moving slowly, though there was no wind at all. The faint lavender scent filled the entire air, the same scent haunting me for weeks now. The man stopped suddenly, frowning in confusion. What is that smell? Ava looked at me, completely terrified now. Jenna, the lights flickered wildly, and for one moment everything went dark. When they came back, a faint reflection appeared in the balcony door. A woman's pale outline, still watching us. Rachel, the man's face turned completely white then. No, he whispered softly, stepping backwards slowly. You're not real.
Yep.
Gone. But the reflection didn't move like simple light. It turned its head slowly toward him. And though I couldn't hear words spoken, the message was clear. You can't hurt anyone else. The crowbar dropped instantly, clattering loudly on floor. He stumbled backward, shaking, head jerking side to side. I didn't mean to, he said weakly then. It was an accident. The lights flickered again, brighter. This time around. The air turned icy cold, stinging my exposed skin. Then came a sound. A whisper drifted through, soft as a breath. Don't let him. Before I could react, the man bolted suddenly toward the door. He ran down the hall. I heard footsteps echo, fading until silence returned. Ava collapsed onto couch, breathing hard and fast. Did you see that? She asked shakily. Did you see her? I nodded slowly, unable to speak. The lavender scent lingered, but the reflection vanished. All that remained was a faint handprint outline on the glass, as if she'd pressed her palm there one final time. The police arrived. About 15 minutes later. They found the man hiding in the alley, trembling and muttering Rachel's name repeatedly. It turned out Mr. Dalton had called earlier after seeing a shadow in the hallway again. When they ran his ID, everything matched. The missing maintenance worker, Rachel's ex-boyfriend, the same man wanted for her death. As they took him, Mr. Dalton looked at me with guilt. "She saved you," he said quietly then, "just like she tried to save herself." I looked back toward the apartment door, its frame cracked badly, splintered from violence. Tears welled in my eyes instantly. The fear was still there inside me, but beneath it, something else existed. A strange sense of peace settled quietly. Rachel hadn't returned to haunt anyone. She came back only to stop him. When I finally left that apartment forever, I turned one last time to look. The balcony stood silent. Morning light hit glass just right then. For a single second, I swore I saw her standing there smiling faintly, free at last. The morning after everything, the building felt different. The air was still, the hall silent now. For the first time since moving in, no sense of watching. Sunlight spilled through cracked blinds softly. Officers finished inspection, taking photos carefully, asking questions quietly, marking the floor. Where door was forced, the lavender smell was completely gone now. What lingered instead was that sterile, bitter scent of cleaning chemicals, the kind police bring. Ava sat beside me, wrapped tightly in blanket, staring into nothing. We hadn't slept all night long. When I closed my eyes briefly, I still saw his face clearly. The way his expression changed from rage to terror instantly. When he saw her reflection, asterisk in the balcony door, he wasn't scared of me at all. He was terrified of her. Rachel had been there, somehow watching, protecting us. The police later told us the man confessed. He admitted breaking inside using old maintenance keys kept after getting fired. He had been living in abandoned nearby apartments, watching quietly, waiting patiently. He returned to that place again and again, haunted by his guilt. He claimed he believed Rachel was still alive, that he could fix everything if he found her. When asked about her death, he said it was accident, that he never meant to push her. But his words didn't change what he'd done. Mr. Dalton sat across, holding his head low. "I should have told you the truth earlier," he said with guilt. His voice sounded rough, heavy with regret. I thought enough time had already passed. I didn't want scaring anyone away. I never imagined he'd come back. I didn't know what to say then. I didn't blame him, not completely at least. I could see guilt eating him alive. He'd lost tenants, reputation, peace entirely. Still, part of me wished he'd been honest. Maybe things would have ended differently. When police finally left, Ava packed my things. I sat quietly by the window alone. The sky shifted slowly from gray into gold. Light hit balcony railing, catching deep metal scratches. Marks where Rachel must have fought to hold on. I ran my fingers along those scars. It felt strange knowing I slept so close to where she died. That afternoon, Ava drove me to her place. I didn't look back. I truly didn't want to. But later that night, silence wrapped around me. I couldn't stop thinking about everything there. The lavender scent, the reflection, the message. Don't let him. She tried to save me. Even in death, she never stopped trying. For the next days, I stayed with Ava. She refused letting me be alone anywhere. Sometimes I caught her glancing at windows, like expecting someone standing outside at night. I tried focusing on work once again, but drawing felt wrong. My hands wouldn't steady. My thoughts drifted back to that apartment. A week later, Mr. Dalton called me. "They're demolishing the building," he said quietly. "After everything, the owner won't keep it open. I thought you should know." For a moment, I said nothing. Then I asked softly, "What about Rachel's things?" "Her box. They gave it police," he said. "Evidence, I suppose." But there was more. When clearing your unit, the bathroom mirror had a message again. My breath caught tight. What did it say? He hesitated briefly. Just 2 words. It's over. I hung up slowly, staring at the wall. I wasn't sure I believed in ghosts, but I did now. Not ones that hurt, but ones that stay. Because they can't rest until truth is finished. Rachel wasn't vengeful. She was incredibly brave. She didn't want revenge. She wanted peace only. And somehow she got it. A month later, I moved to new apartment. Other side of city. Smaller, but much brighter. Freshly painted walls. Smelled like sunlight and new carpet. For first time in years, I slept through night, no fear waking me. One afternoon, unpacking boxes, I found something strange. Tucked inside sketchbook pages, a small silver locket. I froze immediately. I knew exactly what it was. Rachel's locket. The one from the box. I didn't remember packing it. Maybe Ava did accidentally. Maybe it wasn't accident. I opened it slowly, expecting her photo, but inside was different. It's a folded piece of paper. Small, worn, delicate. I opened it carefully. In faint, faded handwriting, it read quietly, "Thank you for not letting him." I sat on floor, tears filling my eyes. Somehow, through all chaos, Rachel reached me once more, just to say goodbye. That night, I stepped onto my new balcony. Cool air surrounded me. City lights glowed below, alive, calm, steady. I whispered softly outward, "You can rest now." The wind brushed past gently, soft, steady, relieved. A quiet sigh. I knew then she was gone, not in sadness, but in peace. What happened there will stay with me forever. It taught me sometimes the past won't stay buried. Not until truth is faced. It also reminded me this: not every haunting scares. Some exist to protect. So if you hear my story now, remember, pay attention to feelings you can't explain. Sometimes, warnings aren't meant to frighten you. They're meant to save you. If you enjoyed this story and want more emotional storytelling, don't forget to subscribe. Comment below where you're watching. Your support keeps stories alive. Stories, reminding us that even in darkness, there's always reason to listen closely.